Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my fellow YouTubers, Facebookians. Aries here with a video. I just got back from walking Blizzard till I go to bed. Anyways, Aaron was talking about going to bed. He went out to Mount Rainier again. He's like, "Oh yeah, you missed this, and you missed that, and you missed this," and I'm like, "Yeah, but I had to do Skype calls and work and everything else, so I got done." And so tonight, he messaged me and he says, "Oh, yeah, I'm home. You want to come by?" So I went by and talked to him while I was eating. Then about 20 minutes after that, we went out and we decided to take a walk to the park, and we had a cigar. We just sat there and we talked about the neighbor who was saying that me and Aaron is smoking cigars in our apartment. Wrong. So Aaron's like, "I'm not tolerating this," because we always go to Aaron's place and hang out there, and Aaron's like, "Oh, well, blah, blah, blah." So finally I'm like, no. So anyways, because we go out a lot and we're always out doing things, Aaron's got his friend here. So last 2 days, he's put over 1,000 miles on his mom's car from California. So he's like, "Oh, yeah. So I asked him, he needed to borrow a torch for travel, until he leaves. And it's one of those propane ones. So I asked my neighbor, and the neighbor said, sure. So we got it, and we took care of it. Well, anyways, talking to Aaron about, Aaron and I were talking about this woman, because I was talking to a friend of mine on Skype, and I was going to check in on Angela, but Angela hasn't surfaced today, or this morning she did, but I answered her when I was waking up, so that is kind of the, what do you call it, the problem, so, on that, so me and Aaron talked about Filipino problems. We were talking about a Filipino in particular. He's like, yeah, he did. His friend did insult me by saying I'm a man with boobs, and that irritated the hell out of me. But at least, as he said, I'm myself. So, on that aspect, so. I asked Aaron, we talked, I told him about his problem when I was talking to a friend of mine that's in Singapore on Skype about, him, being overweight and a cigar smoker and having a service dog disabled. And most women, as Aaron said, don't want him. So, anyways, he was like, "Oh yeah, the transgenderism," but Aaron was talking about Asperger's and to his friend in the car, and I'm like, "I don't have Asperger's, but I know a lot about fishing." I mean, Aaron was telling me a lot of these areas that he went to today was just perfect for the picking for fish. And I'm like, "Oh no, I didn't go." But problem is, I didn't want to go because A, I have back problems, and B, I don't want to be in a car too long, and C was, he's got to spend time with his friend. His friend came up to see him and to see Washington and Oregon and Northern California. His friend wanted to go to Glacier National Park, but it's like, you got to do this and you got to do that, and it's like 800 miles, and you'd be gone 2 days. He's like, "Oh, you don't have a tent." We have a tent. The problem is it take up too much space, plus we have our dog Blizzard. So, anyways, Aaron got back. He made his pasta. We went out and we chatted. We didn't talk much. We talked about Filipinos. We talked about the mail. We talked about the neighbor. Talked about a tooth. He's like, "Well, you're not smoking that much because, can't. Because his friend's around. So my cigar box is being pretty good." So he's like, "Well, and it was mildly windy, but it wasn't bad." So me and Aaron, we just did quite well. So me and Aaron were talking about cigar smoking and the new catalog that came. Talked about what's going on around here, and we talked about my niece and my sister and other things. And we talked about like I said, Filipino girls, and talked about the scammers of the world, basically, and he's like, "Oh, well, you got to be careful of this one," because, he was telling me about it, that this one wants this one wants that, this one wants this. Well, it's not good. So me and Aaron talked about that, and he asked me how my project was doing, and then to you all, I finished it. and I actually busted my hump and I got it done. And I found that to be quite a blessing. So I got that done. I did tell him about the whole thing about this one Filipino that was mad at me and how I did a rant on video, and he says, when you actually swear or actually curse someone, you curse them for a reason. So he actually felt blessed himself. So, we talked about cupcakes, told him about dinner. I had chili dogs, and he's like, oh yeah, chili dogs sound pretty good. So we had chili dogs, or I did. He had pasta. So I said, well, let me know if you make pizza tomorrow, otherwise I'll have brats. That's a German sausage. And, etc. We talked about a few other small issues, and he's like, well, I better get some sleep. So we finished the cigar, went over to the post office, talked about that. He was talking about a few problems, and so we talked about that. But yeah, I did a lot of stuff tonight. I'm tired. About tired about a few things. So, but yeah, I'm just very grateful that about what's going on. So, yeah. So anyways, I have no clue what to do or what not to do. So I was checking something, by the way, and it didn't go too well just now, but I'm just using Google for a second. I had some there we go. So me and Aaron were just joking around. I usually keep the little windows, on the top of fly fishing mostly because that's what I like. So, we're all good. But yeah, his friend so far has been very nice. No complaints. I was kind of afraid for a bit because he was playing with a knife all the time. And I told Aaron, dude, if someone plays with a knife, there's a problem. Someone's got a new gun, they shouldn't be like, oh yeah! Instead, they should be handling it, properly as an adult. So, Aaron was telling me about some legalities and stuff that he thought of and stuff like this. And Aaron asked me a question, and I'm like, oh yeah. And he just looked at me like, how did you know? And I'm like, I figured it out. So, but yeah, I got my project done. I watched all the videos I needed to. I compiled a spreadsheet. I got it prepped, and then I started it, and then I uploaded it. Then I had some more coffee. Then I did some more, and then I uploaded it. Then I restart. Finally got it all done. I'm like, then Aaron comes in at 9:30, and he's like, oh, yeah, anyways, I'm making dinner. And then, so we went and took a walk to the park. We talked, and his friend apparently went to bed. Apparently his friend was tired, but at the same time, his friend was maybe wanting to watch a movie and didn't. But we walked in, and I asked Aaron, can I borrow your Drano? He said, you can have it. What do you need it for? So my sink's not draining properly in the bathroom. Must be the hair. He's like, do this, this, and this. If it doesn't work, then you'll have to see the manager. Because it's not draining properly. And I told him I don't want the manager basically, like, turning around and accusing me of breaking it, So, my apologies on that. I was hoping it was Angela. I had a question for her, but she surfaces when she surfaces. I love her very much. She's a great gal. She lives her life. I live mine. She did tell me something cool, so I was like, wow. But with me, we talked about the phone, and we talked about getting the new, what do you call it? What do you call it? The new, phone, because I'm getting the number changed. Aaron and I talked about getting it changed on the grounds that we don't want to deal with my sister. I talked to a couple Filipino friends. They understand. But Aaron's like, yeah, I'm going to go home. I'm going to, do his Farmville, and then he's calling it a night. Since all my projects are done, the only thing I got to do tomorrow while Aaron's out and about is a new project. I'm taking notes from books and putting it in my fly fishing manual that I'm doing. And then I'm returning the books. I also have to do reviews online and videos, I think. And then that's it. Me and Aaron's been lazy on our own joint channel because, well, we are just flat lazy. So we need to get back into it. But his friend's here. His friend, I think, is more appreciative that I'm allowing Aaron, well, not allowing him, but allowing him to go and be with his friend, because usually, Aaron's like, oh, well, you got offered. Yeah, but I don't feel like going because, A, he's driving with Aaron. B, my back would kill me sitting in a car too long. C, Aaron was talking about the music and how it's blasted at times, how the windows are rolled open and can't hear everyone, and frankly, if I was going to go, I'd be reading, and I do not want the wind to whip through it in his little car, so instead, I'm doing projects here. I'm hoping things get back to normal, but it's not going to get to normal that well because the neighbor complained about something that isn't happening. I mean, the neighbors apparently are complaining about cigar smoke in Aaron's building, which there is none, smelling a weed, which 2 neighbors smoke it, and Aaron's getting the flack for it. So Aaron's like, I'm not smoking anywhere, I'm not going to, never have, never will. So Aaron and I, we usually go to the parks all the time, but this, neighbor's like, oh, well, he must be smoking in Aaron's place because we never leave. But we do. It's just, we leave, and if she's making a note when we come and go, because her window's always open, my neighbor downstairs, and so finally, me and Aaron just said, enough's enough, So, yeah, I got all the projects done for now. I got notes to take. I got a movie I want to watch. We did talk about my tooth. First of the month, I want to go in and get it pulled so I have no more pain. And that means I'm going to. Oh, and all the bills are made up for next month. So I'm quite happy about that. Credit card, we're going to make less payment because, well, we don't need to buy much. Aaron's like, well, you can make a smaller payment because we're not buying that many cigars next month because, well, we're fully stocked. And instead of spending the last 3 days, we've only smoked 1. So instead of our usually 9, so we've saved 9 cigars, or 8. So Aaron's like, well, I'm going out tomorrow and I'm going here and I'm going there. Well, I told him, the reason I don't want to go to Wenatchee is I don't have any money. Otherwise, I'd go up to Olive Garden. So him and his friend can go wherever he wants. I'm just going to stay here and finish up my project. I'm going to clear up the desk here. I'm going to clean up the desk, clean up the print area, finish up with the bills, and get them ready to go for next month. I want to get the books returned because I got like 11 books that need to go back. I've read most of them. I just got to review them on Amazon. I'm just like, I would do book reviews on YouTube, but no one wants to hear my expert opinion on reading fly fishing books. So, and so I needed to do that. So yeah, anyways, other than that, all is good. I did miss out on some good fly fishing areas, and etc. But I'm just so busy with trying to get these projects done, and I don't want to be a burden because, his friend's got to buy meals for Aaron and water for Moppy and drinks, and I'm just like, no, that's okay. I did tell Aaron that we're going to need more milk because we have box meals that we got to get by from the rest of the month that require milk. But the milk says sell by tomorrow, so I'm making lattes tonight to get it out of the way. So I have plenty of lattes. And then tomorrow, I'll finish up with the milk, and then it'll be done. And then there's no problem. Aaron's like, well, I better drink up the stuff that's in my fridge because tomorrow he's going to make pizza if he gets everything ready. He said he wants to do it. Comes to walking Blizz. He walked Blizz this morning for me while I was sleeping. He said, you were just sleeping soundly, Rita. So while I was sleeping, he walked Blizzard. Then when I got up, I had 3 straight espressos, hopped in the shower, did my thing, got out. I was like, you ready to go for a walk? Then I walked Blizzard. Then I figured Aaron will be home in a good time. Pizza will be ready. So I went over to his place because Blizzard's like, really grumpy. And he kept going to the kitchen and his food bowl was empty. We were one of those buckets that holds 10 pounds of food. And every time you eat it, it drops down lower till it gets to the end. Well, Blizzard's been eating a lot of food at Aaron's place because we hang out there a lot. So food finally, emptied. And Blizzard's like, well, I bought dog food 2 days ago, so I finally said, I'm going over there and get it. So I couldn't find where it was, and then Aaron said, oh, I left it in the kitchen for you. We didn't have time to get it, so I just filled up his bowl, and Aaron just, Blizz started munching on it like crazy. So, but apparently, little Moppikins had a problem today. He was grumping about when Aaron put him on the floor so Aaron can actually stretch, and Moppy didn't like it, wanted to be in front on the lap looking out the window. So you know how that goes. Anyways, other than that, all is well. I just wanted to say, hope all is well with you all. Look for another update tomorrow. It's going to be shorter because there's nothing to do except copy some notes into my journal and then return the books Saturday or Friday or Saturday or even Monday. So we don't know when his friend's leaving. His friends wants to go out to Cooley to the laser show, which is free, but I hear there's fireworks, so we don't know if Moppy's gonna like the explosion. So I don't know, but I'm not gonna travel out there. Aaron was like, you should have went with us, it was great. And it's like, no thank you, because it's his friend. I don't know him wouldn't know him enough, and I don't want to be a burden to his finances while he's traveling up here from California. So technically, he's on a limited income, so I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, I'll go with you, because I don't want to be a burden at Burger King, Dairy Queen, McDonald's. I don't eat McDonald's anyways. Burger King, I love, and then going all over the mountains. I mean, they ended up on the other side of the mountains, apparently, almost going towards Seattle before he turned around. He said in the last 2 days he put 1,000 miles on the car, so I'm just like, 1,000 miles in 2 days? No, thank you. I would be losing it. With the windows open, I would have wanted to read, and I don't want wind blowing through there while I'm trying to read and focus. So it was best if I stayed home and do projects. I did ask Aaron to help me total them up. He's like, okay. So he's going to do the totaling. I'm going to be sending Aaron an email and an email to someone else, and then I'm going to watch a movie. So with that said, and latte time. With that said, please add and subscribe if you like. Please post comments in the box. Please add me as a friend. Please suggest comments, feedback, suggestions. Thank you, and may God bless the world.